Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty Roundtable Radio Talk Show.
Will Donald Trump's assassination attempt help his popularity? Nationwide Mayday walkouts, protests, Congress decides, both sides of the aisle decide to spy on us all. Donald Trump Jr., the new apprentice leader. What the heck's going on, folks? Happy to have you along, my fellow Americans. I'm Sam Bushman with hard-hitting news the networks refuse to use. Dr. Scott Bradley's with me, freedomsrisingsun.com. Check out his incredible weekly webinars every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Get your ticket to Riot at freedomsrisingsun.com. It's an open webinar. Everybody can check it out after the fact, but if you want to participate, then you got to get a ticket. You sign up, you get your invite link, and you're ready to go every Thursday night. But you can watch it on Rumble and on all kinds of places after the fact. Look for Freedom's Call if you want to do more on that. Dr. Bradley, welcome back, sir.
Well, thank you very much. You know, it's interesting. We used to do 2 hours on Friday morning, and
yes, sir.
And in more recent times, you know, we've been just doing 1 hour, and as we always say, time flies when you're having fun, and it just seems like it's, boom, gone. I mean, without even hardly blinking an eyelash, it's gone. I mean, I don't know if we're having fun or if there's just so much to talk about, and we get into so much arm waving, it just goes before we have a chance to even take a breath.
Hopefully there's so many critical constitutional and critical liberty-minded discussions that need to happen based on principle, and since others aren't doing it, then we, have to shoulder, I don't want to say the burden, the blessing of defending the sacred cause of liberty. So that's who we are and what we do. And folks, it's just a dollar and cents thing. I lost one of my large clients, and so as a result, we've got less money. And so the question becomes, do I stay with the radio show and drop the video? Do I reduce the radio show and keep the video stuff up? Do I reduce both of them some and try to get more out of the content? That's what we've done. We've reduced the 2-hour radio show to an hour. We've reduced the everyday 2-hour videos to more like, 3 days a week video stuff. But that way we're really short, teaser videos that help the, YouTube algorithms and such. We've got the long form videos, and we do that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And sometimes we do one show out of it if there's a long guest. Sometimes we do 2 shows out of it, half hour each, if I have a guest for a half hour, and then break down the news for a half hour. Sometimes we do 2 of them. Or if I have 2 guests, sometimes we break it up and do 2 videos. So it amounts to around 3 to 6 videos per week, depending on, more like 4 or 5 usually. And then we do some clips for those videos to tease them and promote them. And then we have the hour radio show. And so we're just trying to do a mix of all the new modern media required. And we feel like that's probably the best combination we can do now. If everybody wants to go ahead and fund us, you can go to libertynewsradio.com, click on donate, and just start with a positive number and add zeros. If we had an angel investor, we could do it all, Dr. Bradley. We could not only go back to 2 hours radio show, we could go back to all my videos. We could actually launch a show for you. It just all takes money, money, money. And, I'm not really interested in money necessarily, but it does take money to carry out a lot of these things. So that's kind of the summary of what we've done and why. But there's so much to cover really quick. There's a nationwide Mayday, as you know. And I guess there's walkouts as workers protest rising costs, stagnant wages, and what they call economic inequality. Hundreds of thousands of Americans are expected to walk off jobs, skip school. And they say there's over 3,000 Mayday protests nationwide. And organizers are literally starting to kind of escalate towards, quote, broader economic shutdown tactics. This is disaster, Doctor. You've got the communists all over the country going psychotic.
Well, Marx in his little diet, his scurrilous, I don't know what you could use a lot of derogatory.
His satanic
adjectives.
Prose. How about that?
Anyway, it is one of the most stilted writing I've ever read any time. His ability to communicate ideas was pretty bizarre. But at any rate, workers of the world unite, and that's where we are right now. And, clear back in the 1840s when it first came out, it was a similar kind of movement that was, pre-planned, a lot of provocateurs and agents out there that were stirring up the population. And they have a target date, May 1st, and it looks like they're hitting some of that, and they'll use whatever they can to agitate, because the communist modus operandi is basically divide and conquer. I mean, you put conflict, you put things in there that disrupt what the normal flow of society is, and if it gets disrupted enough, their intent, and it's worked very good for them. It's bad for everybody, but it's worked. Their plan has worked in that they've been able to overthrow an awful lot of societal norms based upon this divide and conquer concept. It's based upon contention.
And they love to get in the streets and riot, and they love to pretend it's a peaceful protest when it's, we really have the right to peacefully, I'm going to say that again, peacefully assemble. And that's a far cry from a pretend, protest and then a riot on the end of it, and then a blame conservatives or anybody else if you get away with it. Literally 3,000 protests across the country. This has started to become kind of a routine thing. Every, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, they decide just to riot and get crazy. And folks, this needs to stop. I'm just telling you now. I'm not saying they don't have a right to their freedom, but at the same time, we need to start prosecuting criminals, cracking down. Hey, this needs to stop. Illegals need to get hauled away and deported. Criminals need to go to prison. Most good, honest, peaceful people, that's not the way we protest. The way we, in my opinion, have a peaceful assembly is we, go to a location, rent a place, do something, and then we peacefully meet and have speakers and booths and different things to educate one another and to, reach out and meet and greet and spend time together and learn from one another and all these things. And, we do it way different than they do. And I think millions of Americans, not just hundreds of thousands, do it the way I'm proposing. But we really need to understand what it is. Their desire is to destroy society. They're really against what we stand for, which is God, family, and country. Congress betrays us. Both sides of the aisle sold us down the river. Congress rushes, quote, midnight surveillance extension, folks. Yeah, they delay the FISA showdown, and they all agree to spy on us still. Yeah, lawmakers narrowly avoided the lapse in the surveillance plans. They passed a short-term version of FISA, 702, and they basically just decide that they all want to still spy on us, Doctor. They won't let go of spying on us, even when they get the opportunity. Republicans take over, Republicans control over Donald Trump, new MAGA, whatever, and they claim, and then when it really comes to it, they're all wanting to spy on us, Doctor.
Well, what's different? It's their modus operandi. I mean, they kick the can down the road. They rarely, if ever, face their responsibility to perform their labor. That's, I guess, one of the reasons that the Congress is held in such contempt. I mean, some years ago in 2004, I testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee, and we had a very acrimonious exchange. Orrin Hatch was the Senate Judiciary Committee chair, and it got so heated that I was confident he was going to pound the gavel and say, "I hold you in contempt of the Senate," and I was so mad I was going to say, "Of course I do. I'm contemptuous of the Senate." But here's the problem. This 702 FISA thing is absolutely an enigma to me. I mean, Trump
but it's
had
criminal.
his own
That's what it is.
Well, say again?
It's criminal.
Well, absolutely. It's a violation of the Fourth Amendment in spades, but we don't have a Fourth Amendment, largely because of the USA Patriot Act and its associated accoutrements that are hanging from it. But the fact of the matter is, Trump and his campaign were absolutely against it, and now he's for it. I mean, it's kind of like whether it's Kerry or Gore or whomever. I was against it until I was for it, and then I voted against it, but then I got for it. I mean, these kinds of things, if people understood that they can be in the crosshairs, and without going into a whole bunch of detail on it, somebody suggested to me that I needed to talk to somebody overseas recently, and I told them I don't want
No,
to,
thanks.
because if someone, and this person is certainly not a subversive or anything, they were a very decent individual that had some.
Yeah, but they'll just use AI, change the voices, pray that it's, or pretend that it's subversive, and lie and cheat and toss you in the clink over it, Doctor.
No, well, they might have, but they might not have done anything except for capture my name because it was an overseas call. And
Yeah.
and if they find your name in their sweep of some conversation or email or text or whatever, suddenly it opens you up for investigation.
Yeah, open up for scrutiny. Let's monitor Scott for a while and see if everything's cool or what's going on with old Scott. And they'll find out he was on Liberty Roundtable Live, and then they'll go ahead and look at Sam, and then they'll go ahead and say, well, Sam was written up in Congress on the congressional record I think it was 2 or 3 times, as the nexus of anti-government and hate in America. And so then they'll put a little, Sam Bushman flag on Dr. Scott, and then, hey, all the bets are off for your future communications. I mean, that's really what we're talking about. But, folks, it's a disgrace. When they literally passed this extension, they don't want to give up spying on us. And that really bothers me because, you got Democrats that voted no on this thing too. So it just proves who's who, doesn't it?
Well, tell me what their extension is. I didn't hear that.
Well, they've got a 6 weeks extension.
Well,
so
6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years. Last time they put it up, they really tried to make it permanent. They did not want to have to review it again. Fortunately, we got that stopped. But even every 2 years, first of all, they just automatically renew it, or they agonize and wring their hands in impotent despair, and then they extend it, and then they agonize and ultimately, and then they extend it. Well, next time we're going to do a thorough review. It never happens. 1978 is when the FISA court was created. And, it's a day or two since then, and we've had a lot of abuse of this thing. And the 702 section is the one that catches Americans in the snare. If you're calling anywhere overseas and your name gets caught at some time.
Yeah, well, then here's what happens though too. Then they basically say, hey, because we caught your name overseas, now we've got kind of probable cause or concern or whatever else. Now we're gonna and so they play games with this, and the reality is you have no privacy left, folks, because even then what they do is on the back end. So they got a probable cause, say, against Sam because he talked to somebody overseas. Then they say, well, we're going to buy data from the cell phone companies. And then so we got it from a third party. It's not really spying on Sam, but we can geo-track Sam with geofencing and everything else. And now we're going to spy on Sam's conversations, and we've got kind of a backdoor, and we really don't need warrants at all to spy on Sam from cradle to grave. Foreign interactions or domestic doesn't matter. And that's really where we are, Doctor. That's what they're doing.
Well, absolutely. Big Brother is watching. End of discussion. I mean, look at the NSA thing. It's almost down in your neighborhood. And they're just gathering everything, cooking away, baby.
All right, there you have it. It's a disgrace, but, what do you do? We need to stand against it. I personally think everybody that voted for this should be flat out fired. Next election, vote against them, vote them out. That's the way you do it, folks. That's the constitutional, peaceful way to move forward. I don't dare use the term take them out because that goes all sideways. So I will just say let them retire gracefully, please. That's how I would say it. Donald Trump floats Don Jr. as a, quote, potential new Apprentice host. They're talking about rebooting The Apprentice on TV, Doctor. And so President Trump did acknowledge rumors that his son Donald Jr. could go ahead and host it. He says, hey, man, my son's got enough charisma for the role. Let's do it. Anyway, no deal was really confirmed about it yet, but they've got real consideration as the iconic show, I guess, has renewed attention. They're thinking about rebooting that baby. You want to be on The Apprentice, Doctor?
Well, I'd never make the cut. I think that this I don't care what they do in their reality shows. I honestly, I never, ever, not once at any time in my entire life, I don't even know when it was on, I never once observed it. But if they want to create a dynasty about some drivel that's going on a TV show, and they ought to be in that program. I think that's fine. I mean, I just think they got to quit dinking around with stuff like sending real estate agents to go negotiate a peace treaty that should end a disaster that's going on around the world. And yeah, let him go become the new host. I mean, I support that. Put me down for a yes.
All right. Iran, war, peacekeeping, negotiations, all canceled. What do you say to that, Doctor?
Well, I don't think they were a thing. Honestly, I think that what was happening, I think Donald Trump's looking for an off-ramp, and he wants to, promote the idea that he's seeking peace and all this kind of stuff. He's in a disaster. This is an absolute disastrous quagmire. And Hegseth
we warned the second we found out about it against it, and we warned before it even happened that we were on the trajectory of going to war. A year before that, I even said, Trump will end up being a war president. I was proven right. And so we knew this was going to happen because Donald surrounds himself with hawk folks, people that are hawkish. And he's been doing it for a long time, and they're still whispering in his ear.
Yeah, yes, absolutely, they're hawks, but they're a very specialized kind. Because if they're in the pocket of the Israeli agenda, you look at Lindsey Graham. He never saw a scrape around the world. He didn't want to get some Marines killed in it. And by the way, Graham is saying this. The 1973 war resolution is unconstitutional. I would like to hear his argument on that. I mean, this idea that that Congress should again take its constitutional role in the role of deciding whether we go to war or not is unconstitutional. Now, the 1973 war resolution is very mamby-pamby and weak, in my opinion, and allows for egregious actions by presidents that is currently underway, but it's supposed to rein it in 60 days or extend it for another 30, and all this Bravo Sierra. But the fact of the matter is, Congress has not done their constitutional role in my entire lifetime. And it just has
Other
not
than that,
happened.
there's no problem, is there, sir?
No, it's
Doctor,
the most onerous task that ever happens to a nation. There's got to be a huge responsibility taken, and Congress needs to wrest that back. And today's the day, the 60th day of the war, and they're supposed to vote on it, and they failed to vote on it. Well, they voted on it last night. Again, refusing to rein in the out-of-control executive branch. And
anyway, so let me throw it out to you this way. So the question, I guess, last night on your webinar, hey, were the peace negotiations canceled? And my response is, I don't know that I believe they ever really started. So, some people are saying, hey, the Democrats are radicalized. My good friend, Ron Edwards, yesterday on his program brought this point up. He goes, the Democrats didn't become radicalized. The Democrat Party isn't radicalized now. And you're thinking, what? They're crazy. They're radicalized. He goes, they're just what they've always been. Right? They're just what they've always been. They're not more radical than they always were. They've always been the radical party of promotion of socialism and communism and the destruction of America and anti-God, family, and country. And they've always been that way. So don't act like they've become such a thing. They're already that way, and they've always been. Well, the same thing's true. There's Iran war peace negotiations canceled. I mean, it's on and off again, depending on who you ask. I mean, Donald Trump says we're about to meet, and the Iranians say no, we're not. Then Donald says I'm sending an envoy to get there, and then we had to turn around the envoy. Well, who was telling the truth? I believe they weren't going to meet in the first place, right?
No,
and I don't know that we have direct meetings. Anyway, we're meeting through third parties, and it's innuendo, and he said, she said. I mean, we're whispering telephone when it comes to war negotiations. It's insanity.
Well, again, this is a process that needs to be undertaken, but Iran is not coming to the table because they don't feel motivated to. They have heard
why would they come? Hold on. Why would they come to the table when we've laid out terms they're flat out never going to do?
That's exactly right. They will not accept them, and they're not going to come until there's another offer on the table. And the fact of the matter is that they didn't start the war, and people will argue with me that to the nth degree about this 47-year war. We could address that at extreme.
Well, I want to talk about the 6,000-year war then. Yeah. Started when Cain killed Abel, and we've been going on ever since, right? Come on.
Well, the fact of the matter is that
I'm just saying, how do you draw lines of when the war started? What war? It's like, whose land is it? When did that start?
Yeah, And the fact of the matter is, this one, in its most recent genesis, if you will, probably started in 1953. When Eisenhower administration overthrew.
I'm just saying you can choose any break point you want. You can say it started, February 28th, 2026. That's when Donald attacked, right? And Israel attacked. Or you can say it started thousands of years ago when Cain killed Abel. Or you can pick any point in between that you want to, battle about, right?
You can, but the fact of the matter is the United States and Israel kicked over a hornet's nest. And it's not over until the hornets decide. And I don't know if Israel's the hornet's nest or if Iran is at this particular point.
Israel is.
Because the incendiary things that are happening, and it is absolutely absurd to me that a president, this individual is supposed to be the figurehead, if you will, of so much of the nation. He's unwilling to exercise a shred of diplomacy, a shred of statesmanship. He's threatening to turn their sand to glass with nukes. He's saying he's going to destroy an ancient civilization never to arise again.
Yeah, destroy their water salivation plants, destroy their all kinds of infrastructure that relate to peaceful civilians, which really is war crimes. It's just disaster, folks. So the answer is it canceled? No, I don't think they ever had peace talks happening anyway, number one. And number two, I'm not sure what canceled means when they're on again, off again, through third parties. I don't even know really what it means, right? No one knows the objectives. No one knows the intentions. No one knows the what was on the table. Oh, we've got this in writing where we make these demands, and then they put their thing out in writing and say, here's what we'll do, and then we're not going to talk, and then we're not going to agree to that, and absolutely no nukes for Iran, says the Donald, and they say we're going to peacefully pursue nuclear capabilities, and by the way, we probably need to defend ourselves from people like you in the first place, and well, they're right about that. The proof is in the pudding. And so the problem is it's never going to get resolved if we're going to be like that. And the founding fathers said we need to work with us on a diplomatic idea. We need to trade with everybody and be kind and stay out of the middle of things. And, as long as we don't listen to the founders, as long as we're not a moral people, it's going to go on, and it's going to go on in spades. Will the recent assassination attempt on the Donald help Trump's popularity is one of the questions you got asked last night too, right, Doctor?
Well, it was, and I think that there's normally a little popularity bump that happens when one of these tragic thing or a sad or a
American hero thing. God saved him, right?
Well, I'm not so sure.
I'm just saying, isn't that the way they pitch it?
Well, it is, but
that's the way the popularity bump happens. God saved him, and thank the good Lord he's here, and
Well, the fact of the matter is that there's an awful lot of people, gobs of people, and I don't know if you've listened to their presentations, but there's so many things that don't smell right about what happened that there's a lot of people that are saying it was staged. And
that's the problem is that, we never got any reality check on any of the other assassination attempts. We never got real details like we were promised. We don't have answers on JFK. We don't have answers on Oklahoma City, 9/11. I can go on and on and on. And so nobody has any trust, Doctor, and that's the problem.
Well, you look back just to Butler, for example.
That's what I mean. What answers do we have on that?
We don't. And in fact, Trump refuses to investigate that.
What answers do we have on Charlie Kirk, for that matter?
We don't, and the fact is that the storyline, the official establishment narrative on Charlie Kirk is about as flaky as anything I've ever heard.
All right, well, hey, I wonder what we're going to do if we're going to blow them to smithereens. Are we going to be deploying hypersonic missiles in the Iranian theater? Are we going to go nuke on them? How aggressive is this going to get? What do you think is going to happen over the next, let's just say, while Donald's still in office? What do you take? A little less than 3 years for that? Anyway, we'll talk about it in seconds. Liberty Roundtable Live. I'm Sam Bushman. Dr. Scott Bradley's with me. His website, freedomsrisingsun.com. Check out his incredible collegiate series, To Preserve the Nation, and also sign up for his weekly webinars at freedomsrisingsun.com. I'm Sam Bushman. LibertyRoundtable.com. Everywhere. Rumble, Twitter, X. Spread the word. YouTube. God save the Republic.